Welcome back to Game Boy Wars 3, everybody. I'd say it's time we got started on the campaign, so we'll go ahead and get that underway. Now, the campaign in Game Boy Wars 3 is very different from an Advance Wars campaign. There are actually 45 different campaign maps in Game Boy Wars 3, and you do not have to play through all of them. The path that you take through all of these maps depends on how quickly you clear each map. So if you clear a map quickly, you'll get sent to a different place than if you had cleared it slowly. But the ultimate goal is to get all the way to map 45 down here in the bottom right corner of Zone E. You can also clear the game from map 44, but that will result in a different ending than if you had gone to map 45. There are multiple endings as well, and it's not like there's some deep, intricate plot with multiple endings or anything, but it is very unique for the series. They've never really done a thing like this. So, for this playthrough, I'm actually going to show you how to beat the game in the fewest number of maps played, because that can be quite a challenge. You can beat the game with the best ending only playing 14 maps total, so that's what we're going to do. And these first two maps, there's no path deviation for these first two maps. The first path deviation is in map 3. So let's go ahead and get started with map 1. Map 1 is a very easy clear. We are going to build, I think we're only going to end up building like a couple of units. So we're going to build a convoy, because I want a transporter. A transport truck, convoy, potato. And we're going to load it with a mech. Mechs in Game Boy Wars 3 are way better than infantry. In fact, it's probably worth your time to just not build any infantry at all. Because, what do you need infantry for? Mechs can be transported, they can move immediately after they leave the transporter. And they have the bazooka of the mech in this game is actually a ranged attack. It can be fired at a distance of one tile, of course, but, that's still a pretty good distance. So yeah, mechs, they're probably a lot better than infantry, so I just wind up never using infantry at all. I'm not going to build anything in this turn. I actually exploit the AI a little bit in this map because, on turn 4, they don't build anything out of the HQ, and that actually makes the capture very easy. So just gotta wait for them to take their turn. Yeah, that constructor is there's going to be a lot of enemy constructors, and they are so annoying, because they increase the enemies, they increase the enemy's income, and that's going to lead to lots and lots of unit spam. I guess we can go ahead and, I'm on the mountain. I'll go ahead and attack its infantry. So, a couple of things to note about units in Game Boy Wars 3 that I did not touch upon in the beginner mode video. Units in Game Boy Wars 3 actually gain experience points and level up, like in an RPG. And that's important because when you move from one map to the next, you can actually take the units from the previous map with you. And that's a very interesting way of doing it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to build a missile, even though there are no enemy air units. But this missile is going to stay with us throughout the campaign. You can redeploy it as many times as you want as long as it stays alive, and you can always redeploy it for nothing. So that's the advantage of building lots of units and carrying them along with you throughout the campaign. I guess I have enough money for a combat buggy, so I'm going to do that too. Speaking of money, you've noticed that there are actually two different resources, gold and materials. The factories give you materials, and all of their buildings give you gold. I'm not a huge fan of there being two different resources to pay attention to. I think that's... I think they were trying to combat unit spam, but, modern Advance Wars doesn't really have that problem if you design the maps correctly. So anyways, with the HQ taken over, we've cleared the first map. That was really easy. It's not going to stay that way, but hey. Also, I'm getting an award here for not using a constructor of my own. I don't really know why there's an award for that. I think they just wanted to fill out one final slot on the medals menu. Alright, so map 2 is going to be a little bit more intricate. Go ahead and get this started, and the game is telling me that I now have the ability to redeploy units from the previous map. Not going to do that though. So, this map. Basically what we're going to do is get control of these two buildings, and then we'll be able to attack from there. White Moon doesn't start with anything, and they're called White Moon, by the way. I don't know if you could tell. It's very strange. Alright, so let's start with an artillery. Here it is. I'm going to deploy my units from the previous map. The convoy and the mech. And I think I will deploy a second convoy. So there we go. And I'll take the combat buggy along with me too. There's no airport in this map, so I'm not going to use the missile quite yet. But eventually I will. Should I use constructors on this map? I don't know if they're, like, strictly necessary. I guess I want to increase my income, so I'm going to do... Oh, I know what I need. I need supply trucks. Those are going to be useful, because your mechs actually only have one shot before they have to reload their bazooka, and they have to get it from a supply truck. Right, so using our indirect's ability to move and fire in the same turn is going to be important. I'm going to load my transporters and send them on their way first. So the first one can get all the way up here, and the second one can move up to here. We'll be able to capture both of those properties on the next turn. Very important. And you may have also noticed that the music changes on occasion. There are actually 3 different tracks for when it's your turn. One of them for when it's just a, a normal turn. One for when you've got an advantage or when the game thinks you have an advantage. And another for when you are losing. Right, so, probably should have deployed some constructors because you notice that my income is low and I want to make more units. Let's go ahead and make a constructor. Both the constructor and the supply truck can only come from factories, even though cities and HQs can also build units. A little bit strange. Alright, so next turn. Now, I've played this map enough that I kind of know what the AI is going to do. Like, not enough to, like, counter them completely and win the map instantly or anything, but I know that they're going to build a large tank eventually. And that will be annoying to deal with. They're heavily defensive, even against anti-armor units. So with those 2 buildings taken, we can start shelling out the enemy. We can move the combat buggy closer, so I have an option for dealing with unarmored units. Now, the supply trucks are probably not strictly necessary, because we have the city and factory for repairing units. So I'm going to use the constructor to develop the factory and get more materials. Let's see, I should probably get some more combat buggies. More combat buggies are probably a good idea. So knocking that infantry down to 4 HP was actually a really good play because it didn't get sent to 3 HP, so it's not going to retreat. But it's stuck at 4 HP and can't really do much damage, so it's not going to attack either. So we're going to make use of our indirect bazookas to do some damage to these APCs, and they're going to retreat. I kind of want them to do that. But the one on the force was left at 5 health. So I'll go ahead and finish this guy off to get some EXP. You don't really need to worry too much about EXP, but there are units that are very, like, useful to level up. So I do kind of want to get some levels going. Right, so I think I'm going to keep the artillery on the city so it always has ammo. Go ahead and destroy the APC. The APCs are going to be very annoying because the enemy loves spamming them. Like, most of the difficulty in Game Boy Wars 3 comes from the very high number of pre-deployed units that they have. I actually also forgot to mention one thing about the constructor and its ability to develop buildings. Developing a building also causes it to repair more HP every turn. So that's yet another reason you want to develop properties. Especially if you want to get your air units back into the fray quicker when we start dealing with air units. Right, so the constructors are actually attacking. They don't have much in the way of attack capabilities. So I've built a battle car. That's going to be a good anti-armor unit. Let's see here. First order of business is probably to get rid of that large tank because it's going to do quite a lot. I wonder how the... Oh wait, the bazooka probably did 3 damage because that's just how much bazookas do. So this will send the large tank into retreat mode for sure. We can, should I get more supplies? I guess it's not necessary. I have one more grenade left. The supply trucks actually have a limited number of supplies, so when they run out, they have to go to a factory to get more. But you do want to supply as much as possible, because that's how they get experience points. Non-combat units actually get EXP whenever they do non-combat things. So, I guess I'll leave that supply truck where it is, move this unit up, do some more developing. Let's see, there's a unit I want to get, but I don't quite have anywhere near the correct amount of money, so I'm going to stick to producing the low-cost units. Because I think this should be enough to finish the map. There's no route deviation if you clear this map quickly or not, but with all of the units now occupying the bases and stuff, like, that's going to stop White Moon from producing more units. So that's... oh, that's not good. Anti-airs are also very annoying to deal with. But the good news is they're also usually vulnerable to a lot of different units, so I will use the artillery to get rid of it. And I think this mech should be able to finish it off. There we go. That mech took quite a bit of damage, unfortunately. So, let's see here. Get rid of this constructor, probably? Let's see, can I attack this? I can totally attack that, yeah. The machine gun on the transport truck is not very powerful, but against infantry it will get the job done. Alright, so I'm going to do this just because I have initiative. That wasn't a lot of damage, but the second combat buggy should finish it off. There we go. The supply truck up so it can refuel next turn. And, this is time for the battle car to get some action here and finish off the 2 HP, Oh, that might not have been the best plan, because now the factory is open and it can be built from, but maybe one of the enemy units will retreat onto it. Alright, I think I'm good on materials. I should probably focus on getting more gold now. Let's build some more mechs. Since your units carry over from one map to the next in this game, it's actually very important to pay attention to your army composition. You don't want, like, dozens upon dozens of mechs, even though that probably sounds like a good idea. And so the enemy does not have a lot of income remaining. So, should be a simple task to finish them off in just a couple of turns. I'm gonna occupy that HQ. Shoot at it with that unit, and then use the battle car to... oh, I can't get onto it. Oh, because there are too many enemy units in the way. Like, they're using the zone of control. So let's go ahead and hopefully get rid of the infantry. Good, I got rid of it. Refuel, and, can the battle car get into the fray here? Yeah, it can. I think I'd like it to attack second. Oh, I can do an ambush. That's gonna be good. And that should allow this battle car to finish off the enemy battle car. And the large tank is just sitting there doing nothing, eating up the enemy's funds by repairing itself. Because repairs still cost money. I don't know if anyone thought the opposite would be true, but we can occupy the enemy HQ. And there's actually not a lot of enemy units left anyways, so... well, there are a bunch of infantry down here. Can I destroy this? Yep. This supply truck is not really doing anything, so I'll get a free ambush off of this infantry. Yes, even the non-combat units can cause ambushes. But I should really be using those transport trucks to actually transport the mechs, don't you think? I guess I'm playing this a little bit oddly. But the longer you take through each map, actually, the more income you get, and which means more money, which means more units can be produced. I don't really need any of these units right now, so I'm saving up. there is a hard time limit on how many turns you have to complete each map. It's something like 30 on average for most of the maps in this game. So you don't want to, like, just be sitting there forever building up your forces on one map and then taking them into the next map, but you can still use a couple of turns to build up your forces. Like, if you have time for it. Now, this combat buggy is just not working for me. Okay. I'll have to use the artillery to get rid of that unit. Fortunately, I spent so many attack turns with the combat buggies that I can't really block off the city from building more units, which is, like, kind of an oopsie on my part, but I would still have to spend a couple more turns with the infantry down here and the mech. Let's see, these transport trucks are running out of ammo too, but this mech should die in just a couple more hits anyways. Let's go for an attack here, maybe. That'll do a little bit of damage. Alright. So this map should be cleared in just a couple of minutes. It's probably taken a while. I hope I'm not boring anybody with this already. I'm hoping that I can get through the third map in this video. Because map 3 is the first map where we actually have to intentionally take a long time, because it's the first map with a path deviation. And I want to take the path. Like, if I want to clear the game in the fewest number of maps possible, then what I actually want to do is clear map 3 in a very high number of turns. I know it sounds weird, but that's just how the path was laid out. The supply truck can't reach the transport trucks, so they're going to have to wait a little bit more for some more ammo. Let's try and... Can I block off all of the buildings? Not quite all of them. Yeah, even the weak machine gun has an ammo limit. Even the secondary weapons have an ammo limit in this game, which is kind of a little bit annoying, but I guess, you know, they wanted to really make supply... They wanted to make the supply truck actually a really important unit, so they do have, like, when we get to air units eventually, you'll see that they actually, like, burn a lot of fuel very quickly, because they can move so far, and they burn a lot of fuel every turn. So just a little bit more, and I'll have enough, gold for a rocket. I'm going for a rocket. They're helpful to have around, as you can imagine. So now I will be able to move the supply truck up and get more ammo to the transport trucks. And should be able to pull off some attacks here. It's really good that even some of the transporters can actually attack, because what I'm allowed to do now is unload whatever was loaded and attack with that too. I should be able to finish them on this turn, in fact. Yes, here we go. Routing is still a possible win condition, but I will be capturing a lot of HQs as well, as you can imagine. Here's the animation for when you win by route. Actually, this happens when you capture the HQ as well. Alright, so map 2 was done in 10 turns. Now it's time for map 3. Which, yeah, actually I will hold off on that until next time, because the recording is now up to 20 minutes. So, next time we will take on map 3, which is the first path deviation. I will see you for that later, everybody. Hope you're enjoying Game Boy Wars 3 so far.